ready.
They say they need to ban the podcast equipment and take y'all mics away. And oftentimes when I listen, shit, I agree.
For real talk.
Hey, man, just because we know people don't mean that they know things. A lot of us was in the same classes with some of these folks. That don't mean they were passing these classes.
All the time.
It ain't the world leaving you behind, man. It's your line of thinking. You think the science stopped evolving because you stopped learning, and it don't work that way. I couldn't imagine voting for somebody who thinks identifying with me is identifying with a felon. That's crazy as hell. I'm Mrs. Spann, and I'm approving these messages. This is the Mrs. Spann Official Podcast. Let's go. Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Mrs. Spann Official Podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Spann. This is episode number 65 of the show. And yo, man, check this out. We are not alone here tonight. We got family in here with us tonight, man. We got podcast royalty in here with us tonight, man. We got the homies from long time. We go back like four flats on a dump truck, baby. Yo, I got Rod and Karen of the Black Guy Who Tis podcast here with me. Say what's up to the people, fam.
Hey, baby, how you doing?
Hey, man, thanks for having us.
Yeah, we've been rocking. If it ain't a decade, it's across the decade.
It's been a decade at least. I think the last time I had you guys on was episode 337 of the Spann Report podcast, and that was right after I bought this house, and that was 4 years ago. Wow. So, but we go back way longer than that. Mm-hmm. We go back to shit. I want to say like 2011, maybe.
It's been a hot minute.
Something around 15 years, man.
I know it's been a while.
And one of the things I was thinking about when I was like, yo, man, I'm gonna reach out because I wanted to I want to have more and more people on for 2025. But I was like, a lot of the people that we came up podcasting with ain't doing it no more. Mm-mm. And that was one of the things I was thinking about. Like, man, the longevity in this is wanting. Right, because there's a lot of real good voices that I think we're missing out here right now. I think, Chris from Insanity Check, he decided to come back, man. I think the madness of the world made Chris.
I was listening to them today when I went on my walk and when I took a shower just before the show, and it's funny. I missed his voice, and he had just basically stopped doing it for a few years. And I guess Trump coming back and Elon Musk was too much. He had to vent that rage.
Between that and you know what? I think life, man. Like we've all kind of watched each other kind of grow in different ways, man. We've watched families kind of come up, sprout out, and things like that. So love everybody and everything that they got going on, but like we do miss y'all voices out here, man. Shout out to my man Brandon, Deidre, Mike, Twine over Where's My 40 Acres, man. All those folks, Black Astronauts, miss them, man. Like I know my man Aaron's still doing with the Nerd Off with you guys, man. But like yo, like the ways in which we came up and became introduced to those voices, man. Like some of I really do miss a lot of those voices and the ways in which we became familiar with them.
Yeah.
Y'all remember who's that? What's my man name? The Player Hater. Y'all remember him?
Yeah, Player Hater, Dark Hater. I feel like we met through Dark Hater.
That's how I was first introduced to you.
Yeah, he used to be on there, and he would just play your shout out.
Yep, that's how I first heard you.
He introduced me to podcasting. Like, we don't rock now, but like I pay homage to where it's due. Hey, man, if it hadn't been for him, Mr. Spann wouldn't be podcasting, man. I'd probably still be just like some YouTubing ass nigga, you know what I mean?
Right. Hey, that's facts. And like though it's the longevity is key, but it's just hard. You know what I mean? You gotta be determined, you gotta really be committed to it. You go through your lows, you go through your like creative ruts, you go through life shit, and getting back on that microphone is important. And I think also like we kind of came up at a time before podcasting was really official like now. So now I feel like people walk in and they all basically got a damn business plan out the gate.
Yeah, you almost have to. Yeah, it's very different. And in fact, this is something actually yesterday, me and Rogers was eating out yesterday. We was talking about just podcasting and podcasting in general and things like that. And I think we've realized life be lifing, and that's okay. And sometimes you have to figure out what's a priority and what's not a priority. And like Roger say, now everything is more plug and play now.
Mhm.
And being included in a network and all that stuff, like Roger said, you basically have to be everything. You have to be your own social media person, your own promoter, your own, if you want to tour, your own tour person. Like, you literally have to do all this stuff. And something that Roger said that I would never forget, he said, most people won't help you until you no longer need it.
Mm.
Like,
Yeah.
that's when people will help you, but you've already done a lot of the work.
Yeah, yeah, I can connect with that in real big ways, man. Like, as a matter of fact, like I remember, like when I first started podcasting, it was I had a call center headset in my laptop, and like I was using, what was that, Audacity, and like Audacity used to crash on me all the time, and it used to take me like 12 hours. It'd take the whole day to put a podcast out. Now, probably about half an hour after we get finished talking, that podcast is gonna be out all over the place, right? But also, they didn't have like sections in Best Buy for you to buy equipment and shit for podcasting, man. It just wasn't a thing back when we first started podcasting. So to see how much the game has changed to where now, like some podcasters don't know that, like, if it doesn't have a video element to it, like they come up they come up thinking podcasting is about the video. When it first started off, it was all about the audio. Like,
Mhm.
the video element, like even when I do this, it was like, it became something to like an additional way for you to consume it. But it's mostly about this, most people are
Right.
listening via their phone while they at work, while they doing some stuff.
Right.
But now it's like, it's so many
But
people when they get into podcasting, they thinking about that video first now. And that's the change. That's one of the biggest changes I've noticed.
I agree. And also, I'm not gonna lie, I was one of them old fuddy-duddies when people was talking about I play my podcast on YouTube. I was like, that ain't no goddamn podcast. The fuck you talking about? So I had to kind of change the way I think about it to realize that people are actually viewing things like it's a generational shift. So you
Mhm.
have a whole generation where if you say podcast, they automatically think video, they don't think audio, but it's a whole audio audience that you can't forget about too. So it's like you almost have to do both. And as I begin to have a better understanding of that, when people go, well, you can listen to a podcast anywhere you can get a podcast. And I truly understand that. And at first I was kind of had my nose turned up going, this is not the same.
I still do sometimes. I'm not gonna lie, I still do. When I would go to like any sort of like podcast, like conference here in the Detroit area now, because it's weird now. Like, when I talk about podcasting to some of the Detroit area folks, they always say like, "Yo, you've been doing this for how long?" And I tell them like about 14 years. And they're like, "So you like an OG of Detroit podcasting?" And I'm like, I don't know about all that, man. Like, I would, I wouldn't say all that, but when I would talk to them about, having the audio element, because so many of them jumped into podcasting just on YouTube. They're like, yo, like
Right.
such and such podcast. And I'm like, so how do I find you on, Podomatic
Apple.
or Pocket Cast, or because these are the things that I've become used to when it comes to listening to podcasts. And like,
Right.
oh, I'm not on, I'm just on YouTube. I'm like, oh, so you got a YouTube channel.
That's right. That's
You
in
got a
my
YouTube
mind. You got a YouTube channel. Like, you don't have an RSS feed or anything that could go on like an Apple where I could listen to it on my phone or
Mhm.
like these other applications.
And it wasn't until I figured out that YouTube was now offering RSS feeds. So now,
Ah,
you can be a podcast on YouTube, and then YouTube is distributing so YouTube has just become another way in which you can distribute the show. And so, it's, as we get older in this, it's like, kind of maneuvering and changing up how we do stuff, and adapting and things like that, especially if you want to continue to be relevant.
right.
You gotta move with how the movement is moving. And so, It's just been interesting, like over the course of the last 14, 15 years to watch the game change over as much as it
Yeah,
has.
all these apps are really becoming like each other.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And honestly, not that I really dig his show or anything, but a big part of this is because of Joe Rogan. Like
Mhm.
Joe Rogan building this platform on YouTube and then being, selling it to Spotify.
Mm-hmm.
And then Spotify really realizing that the video element was such a huge part of why people like this show and
Yeah.
having to retrofit the video element. And so now Spotify allows you to upload video directly to their host of Spotify for podcasters.
Mhm.
That wouldn't have happened without Joe Rogan and his huge platform and divvying up that audience and that audience complaining
They complained.
and all of the stuff that came with it. And so now you have Spotify doing video, you have YouTube doing RSS audio. Like it's really crazy watching this game like change in front of our eyes like this. But it's the power of the smartphone, man. It's the power of people sitting. Like when we first started, people was listening to iPods and downloading podcasts and taking them to work and stuff. And
That's
now
how it
we're at the
was.
point where people are streaming live video, sometimes sitting at their desk. People are
On this,
watching Netflix, but while listening to it at work, but not really even looking at the screen. So like everything's kind of becoming like pushed together.
yeah, and also they've done a study, and they said that most people listen to podcasts actually stream. A lot of people stream through their smart TVs now, so they will actually turn your podcast on their TV, which is something that I would have never thought about because that's not how I consume it, but that is how a lot of people consume it. They actually watch you like a TV show. And that's their form of entertainment now, but it's still a podcast, and they still get the same interaction as they would if they listen in these other formats.
Now I do that with y'all when I'm watching y'all's YouTube channel. If I'm at home and like I'm cleaning up or something like that, I'll go into my if I'm if I'm downstairs, I'm in the living room, I'm cleaning up or something like that. I will have y'all on the big screen with the sounds bars and with the sound surround sounds and everything else. And if I want to be terrified, I turn it up. But no, like I will listen like through my television. I will watch the podcast because now there's the video element to it. I can
Right.
like, and if we keeping it a buck, man, like there's a different way when you watching someone when they're when they're doing the show, like you can watch the inflection on their faces. You can see like kind of what the emotion they're bringing. Like it's been plenty of time, Karen, you've been passionate as long as I've known you, but seeing it is something different than just hearing it.
I never. I mean, I know that about Sacred, but I never really thought of it because I'm just being me, and we kind of had the video element for a while, so I don't really think of it like that. And I think somebody actually wrote into the feedback show today, and they was like, "I've been listening for a long time, but I actually started watching on YouTube, and they was like, I didn't even know what y'all look like. You know what I'm saying? Because I've always consumed it in a audio format."
Yeah. Yeah, so part of the reason why we're talking, like I don't know, talking shop. I love talking shop with y'all because we've been doing it for a while. But one of the things that kind of really brought me into like just talking about the content creation and like the podcast and everything else was I was watching some interactions that Francesca Ramsey was having over on Threads, and we kind of talked a little bit about this before we went live. But there's this idea that a lot of folks have on social media that their friends and their family owe them some sort of audience when it comes to what their content production. And Francesca Ramsey was trying to tell people that, hey, you probably want to put some more work into your content creation before you just start asking your friends and your family to just co-sign your shit because it's you doing it. And she's been getting a bunch of pushback over on Threads about it. So I want to play this video for you guys. And so I'm going to pull this up so you guys can watch right along with me because she's talking about it over on the thread. So let me do this here so you guys can see what's happening. And yeah, there we go. All right, let's see what she's talking about.
This sandwich or something, and it's like, I mean,
Rewind it.
the thing that is so like mind blowing to me about social media, the place that we're in right now, is that it is so accessible that everybody thinks that they can do it. And especially with TikTok, so many people just put such low effort shit onto the internet. And then they're like, where are my likes? Where are my comments? Why am I not blowing up? Where's all my free stuff? And then like you go look at their content and you're like, you're not doing anything. Like you're not saying anything. You're just looking cute. You know, day in the life of me going to Pilates and, you know, sit with me in my car while I fucking taste, I don't know, this sandwich or something. And it's like, I mean, you want your friends to engage, but like you're not really giving them anything to engage with. And then the minute you say, like, yeah, you actually have to do more work, people get so fucking defensive. And, you know, here's the thing, I give away so much free advice. And not just like, this is my opinion, like, this is what I know works. I've done this for a really long time and I'm good at it. And if you tell people, hey, the truth is, it takes a lot of work, it doesn't always work out, like you kind of have to find an internal drive that's not about external success. You have to be committed to your own work in a deeply personal way that not everybody's going to understand. You have to focus on your craft. You have to actually have something to say and not be concerned with like status and money and all of those things. And that's what's going to help you find and define success for yourself. People don't want to hear that. They'll tell you you're a hater. And you know what? Fine. I'll be a hater. Sure. The thing that
All right. So yeah, hold on me. There we go. So yeah, man, what do you guys think about what Francesca had to say there? Because one of the things I always think about when it comes to you know, especially like, you know, being in some form of content creation, I think there's a generational divide that we're looking at. And I think that you know, oftentimes because we, you know, some of us older folk who grew up at a time where social media was not something that we always had, we're coming up against a generation who social media is how they came up. They don't know a life without social media. And so I think the expectations of our interactions are different simply because of how we grew up with this medium. What do you guys think about that?
I think it's kind of like, because it's become so ubiquitous that like everyone has social media, and there's no gatekeeping or qualifications to start your channel, to give your advice. And a lot of people are kind of copycats. So, and social media has, especially TikTok, has really no moral code about copying, which is, you know, a really, I bring that up specifically to say that there's a lot of times where I can understand why people don't know why no one's messing with their stuff. Cause they're like, I watched a video and this person copied this other person's point, and then that person copied this other person. We have no idea who made it first. I made the same point as all of them. How come I didn't get the million views, but they did, you know? And a lot of that is because of that. You have so many people, but very few people are actually talented, thoughtful, dedicated, and all of that stuff. So I think that's a big part of it. The other part is like what counts as content. The bar is very low now. You know, even with Fran, like Fran started out like, I feel like she was ahead of the game with Decoded. Like I feel like a lot of what we call like TikTok social media activism is kind of just aping off of Decoded. You know what I mean? It's just like she was on MTV doing it first and better than most of these people, and now everybody can like hop on their phone on TikTok, make something their background, and be like, look at this video. Here's 12 things to think about. And she was already doing that, which is why she's an OG at it. But the bar being so low for content, it's a huge step off from like Decoded to just I turn my phone on and give you my opinion. And now that we all can do that, it has made people feel entitled because they don't see the difference in effort between what you're doing, like what Fran's doing here, versus when they get on there and they give their advice about something unsolicited. And so they don't see the sweat equity, the brand, the everything she's done to be the person she is. They don't see any of that stuff. And because the bar is so low for content, it's not all dedicated stuff. So to them, they don't see the difference between when she like breaks down like the 4 tenets of white supremacy or something, versus when she's just on there like, got my hair did, got my nails did, you know, just wanted to show everybody what I'm working with. Pals, talk to y'all tomorrow.
Yeah.
To them, they like, how come? Why people looking at her? They should be looking at my nails, you know. So I think you getting a lot of that mixed into it, and it becomes very personal. Like, she, even in her video, she's talking about people like getting mad at her, people that don't like what she got to say, people that's gonna be in her comments. It's so much access to each other that it leads to entitlement, because technically no one should feel like you're owed access to anything, not a like, not a comment, not a reply, from anybody. But you know, once you out here in this world, that's how people moving.
Yeah, and my opinion is this. I've realized everybody thinks that they're special, but some people are under a delusion that they're super special when they're not. Because now in podcasting, there's so many voices that it's very, very, very easy to be drowned.
Oh
because
yeah.
there's so many voices
Great
out there.
choices.
So you have to do something to stand out, and you have to do something to be unique. We've been doing this for a long time. When you're
Well,
talking
this isn't even podcasting.
no, this ain't.
Yeah, no, but I want to. I know what point you're making. I just want to add to it. Podcasting is actually harder than this.
Yes, podcasting is actually harder than what she's doing, but some of the same things apply to both genres. Yes.
Yeah. Just in specific to what she's saying, I guess my point is, with podcasting, you gotta get the mic, you gotta get the equipment, you gotta upload it somewhere, you gotta record it, you gotta do all this stuff. This, you can literally turn your phone toward you, so people even more entitled. Because like, if I told somebody like if someone came to me with their podcast and said, how come I'm not getting 500 listens every episode? I can actually like be like, I know you put in effort to even put this out.
Yeah, for podcasting.
But if somebody's like, how come 500 people didn't like me talking about my nails tutorial? I actually am like, anybody could have did that.
True.
Like, you can't, like, you can't really be mad.
Now, I understand what you're saying from that perspective. There is a difference. The entry level for that costs more for podcasting. Like if you actually want to do so. But even with podcasting, you can literally turn your phone around, press play, press record, and put it out there. So in my mind, these bars are kind of the same, because we're talking about sitting at your desk, sitting at your computer, because we care about quality and how it sounds and all that shit. But if you don't care, you can literally be at the park, turn your phone, hey guys, I'm podcasting. It'll bump your RSS feed. You put that shit out there and you got a podcast. So in my mind, these things are the same. The reason why I'm saying people feel entitled to their family and friends. Let me tell you something. Your family and friends don't give a fuck about what you're doing. That's what people do not understand, because they live with you and they know you. They know you. They don't care. It's like when comedians were forced to do bringers. I don't know if you know anything about comedy, but you know, some of the comedy clubs would force newer comedians to bring bringers. A lot of times they bring their family and friends. You might get them once or twice. After that, they go, nigga, I don't give a fuck about what you're doing. I see you every day. Like, they literally do not care. And so to put the onus on your family and friends is unfair to them, because they know you, they have interactions. They don't want to talk about the shit you doing on your, but they don't give a fuck about that. Hey dog, how you doing? You want some fish, chicken, whatever we doing here ain't got nothing to do with you and your life. But people think that they're so special, and that everything that goes on in their lives, everybody else should rotate around them. You know, and so that's what the problem. I'm doing something, so because I'm doing something, everybody in this room ought to pay attention to me, because I'm quote unquote famous, because I'm doing something that y'all can't do. But because the bar is so low, literally any and everybody can do it. So that's why people think that the world owes them, because y'all think, for people that grew up in the age of social media makes you feel like you are owed the dopamine fix. And a lot of this is just attention, dopamine fix. And so if you are brought up in the age where everybody and everything is pointing at you, and you are the most important thing in the world, yes, I would feel like people owe me. But that's not reality. And also, I agree with her when she was talking about like the work. People want the reward of the work without the work, and the shit don't work like that. Like it's about like working out, losing weight. Like Roger been losing weight, people losing weight. People ask people all the time, what you do? Work out and exercise. Nigga, they look at you and turn away because they don't want to do that. Everybody wants an easy fix. And also, it's not their fault, but also when you have a lot of celebrities that have stepped into this arena, Everybody looks at the celebrities like everybody's going to be a celebrity. No, bitch. They took some people from some other formats and they bumped them into podcasting. They bumped them into these video forms. So they came with the built-in audience. That's why they're getting all the sponsors and all the money and all this stuff and everybody exclusive. Like, that's different than a normal person. Don't nobody know who you are. Nobody knows who you are. Literally speaking out into a void until somebody says, hey, I see you. And then you have to build a little bit. But nobody wants to do that. Everybody thinks that once I jump in, I'm going to instantly be a millionaire. And it shit don't work like that. And then they get mad and pissed because they don't want to do the work. And they act like you say, it goes back to y'all owe me. We don't. Like I said, you're not owed a like, you're not owed a retweet, a repost. Nobody owes you these things. And on top of that, you actually may be bad at it. Most people out here are average to terrible, but they don't want to admit that.
Don't tell them that, Karen. You can't say that. You can't say that. That shit is the greatest thing of all times. You can't say that, Karen.
Especially when you start. Like, everybody's pretty much bad when they start. So, like, asking for people to, like, really bang with you out of charity or something,
right?
It's only gonna make people resent your work. So I honestly, man, if I was most folks, I'd stay low and build. You know, like, stay low, get you some episodes under your belt, and then when you make that call of like, hey man, I would like y'all to listen to my stuff, at least they'll have something to listen to and you'll be a little better at it, if anything.
Agree. And also, it's one of those things, but it takes time to get good at anything. That's that 10,000 hours. Like, it literally, it takes time. And like I say, everybody starts, everybody's bad. Everybody's, and on top of that, you don't even know your own voice.
Yeah,
you don't know what it's going to turn into, what it's going to evolve into. You might have a co-host, you might not have a co-host. You don't know.
I mean, think about how it was when we first started podcasting. Like, I go back and I've listened to that very first the Spann report. I've listened to that motherfucker. I mean, it was okay. I wouldn't put that up against anything I'm doing today.
Right.
But that's 15 years later though, 14 years later. And you know, that's me being growing more comfortable behind the mic, even the whole live aspect of it. Like, I mean, I remember when I first did it, I was like, okay, I'm gonna try it. But, you know, I had to grow into this. I know you guys had to grow into, like, yo, this is just what it is. This is how we doing it. And then it becomes a part of your process.
Right.
But I think one of the things I really want to kind of lean into though is that, like, there's that generational divide. I think we're running into that. I really do think we're running into a generational divide where you know, like, the kids are noticing, like, especially like if you're presenting me like stories on Instagram, you can see who's watched your stories and who liked your shit. Right. You can see that stuff now. Like, so, like, now if you see somebody who's your friend who's watched your content, but they didn't leave any interaction, they didn't leave a like, they didn't leave a comment, and I think these kids are taking that shit very personally. And I think that is the thing where, like, you know, when we grew up, you know, if you're doing something like you're talking with your friends offline, you ain't really worried about what they doing online or whatever else. If they did do some shit that was dope online, you would call that nigga, hey man, that shit was fire, bro.
Right.
But these kids are growing up now where they like, yo man, like, you watched it, but you didn't say nothing.
I think what's interesting is you keep saying kids and generational divide, but like, we all know some motherfuckers our age that act like this.
They do act like Mrs. Spann, I didn't even know you could do that.
Everybody listening to the sound of our voice right now got somebody in mind that's in their peer group that's like, yo, that motherfucker is like that. If I get one more passive aggressive, y'all don't support my business.
Oh my God.
Boy, if I get one more of them motherfuckers Instagram reels with that voiceover where a dude is like, if I was a celebrity, you would have shared it. But this is your friend and you didn't share what I'm doing. I'm cutting grass or whatever. Like, bro, I hope your grass cutting business work, man. But you not the same as Beyonce. Let's just get that out the way.
It's true. That's true. That's true. But I do think it's I do still like it's.
Well, it's not that you. I'm not saying you're wrong. I guess what I'm trying to add is this. The context I'm trying to add is this. Some of this is how social media has changed our social interactions with each other. So like, that's something we would have never grown up doing because it's not something we would have even had the opportunity to do. Social media wasn't like that when I was
it wasn't.
It just literally I'm sure there were people who thought like that.
Yeah.
Like
I just couldn't see
Yeah,
it.
I'm 100% sure because we all knew like selfish people or people that just was always, bookkeeping friendships, that kind of thing. Like
Mhm.
I came to your basketball game, you ain't come to mine, that kind of thing. But it wouldn't have blown up like this. There's nowhere to share it. Now that we have this avenue where everybody's sharing everything all the time, you're right. It's changed people's brains. And if you're young, you grew up with this brain.
Right.
If you're older, you adapted to this brain and you looking at it's even weirder when you our age looking at you like my story, but you didn't share my link. It stands out even more to me.
Yes.
But I guess if we was all 25 right now, it'd be like, well, that's kind of just how it is right now.
Yeah. And that's the point that I would really like trying to lean into. Like, I just think that the way that we interact with social media and the content creation, the attitudes about it are different depending on what generation you coming into it with.
Yeah.
Right. Because like my daughter, my wife, I'm sorry, my wife don't really be like really fucking with the shit that I be putting out here.
Yeah.
What do I like? And I know she loves me, but the rest of it, I don't have any expectations. And I think like when you're older, you kind of recognize like, yo, I don't have any expectations of the people that know me. Like these niggas see me all the time. They talk to me all the time. And when they see me and they talk to me all the time, they know he on that shit. This is what he on. That's his thing. You niggas like your friends and your family don't owe you that.
Yeah.
You don't. And when you free yourself from the idea that they owe you that interaction,
right.
Hey man, the sky's the fucking limit.
And the value I get from my friendships are those real interactions anyway. I don't like transactional friendships.
Me either.
I don't like feeling pressure to do something just because you keeping tally, and I don't keep tally so that people feel pressure. So I don't and it's probably just to protect my own creative brain. Like I don't know who listens to our podcast and who doesn't. I don't check in unless they like make it known, they mention something, they they interact with us on like a live or something. That's cool when they're there, but like I don't ever want them thinking, well, I wasn't able to make it. Rod was looking. No, my brain, I don't. Because I don't want you to feel pressure, and I don't want to feel rejection. So and honestly, the interactions that count for me is when I get to see you and talk to you. Then I'll be like, that conversation mattered to me way more than you liking something or leaving a comment or whatever. Cause that's real.
You know what's weird though? Like when my younger like family members tell me they fuck with the show, when they tell me that, that's what's up.
It means something.
Let them bring it up, right?
But it wasn't because I was like, yo, man, you need to be out here listening to me. You need to be out here supporting. No, when they say, hey, I heard you say this shit, man, like I hadn't even thought about, yo, you was listening.
I'm shocked.
That's dope.
I wasn't expecting you to be. So for you to like, yo, reach out and say, yo, cuz that was dope what you said on this. Oh shit, I didn't even know y'all was listening. But thank you. But thank you. And like I think when it comes to how this whole content creation thing, man, like it's become a thing to where folks are just like, yo, they think that they're entitled to the interactions from the people that are close to them. You're not. They don't. Your folks don't owe you shit, man. They don't.
And hopefully, you grow out of that. I hope, people that feel that way. Hopefully, somebody like Fran spreading that message, people will grow out of it because you got to grow out of it, man. You're giving people too much control over yourself when you do that anyway.
Absolutely. Now, another story that we got here, man, I kind of wanted to touch on, man. So who are these experts telling folks that they ain't got to wash their goddamn their legs, man? Nigga! Who are the experts? Because we keep seeing stories coming up talking about you don't have to wash your legs when you're taking a bath or you're bathing or anything else, right? So I got this story here. This comes out of yahoo.com over in the UK, okay? And they are saying that the experts are telling them that you ain't got to wash your legs while you're in the bathroom, right? So it says, what's the right way to draw an X? Are Sour Patch Kids flavored Oreos delicious or nasty? Nigga, what? Wait. Hold up. Is a hot dog a sandwich? The internet is always happy to offer and debate and answer for whatever ridiculous question won't stop rattling around in our heads. But one question stopped us in our tracks when we saw it pop up in 2019. It's 2025. This shit's still going around. and it's continued to haunt us since then. Do you really need to wash your legs when you're in the shower? Countless people claim that that because the soap from the lathering countless people claim that because the soap from lathering the upper parts of our bodies trickles down to our legs as we bathe, that there is no reason to specifically wash our legs. Others argue that without deliberately attending to our legs, they're still dirty after we get out of the tub. So who's right? That's what Raj Punjabi and Noah Mickelson, host of the Huffington Post Am I Doing It Wrong podcast, asked Dr. Divya Shokin, the founder of Ocean Skin and Vein Institute in Manhattan Beach, California, when she dropped by to the studio to talk about all the ways we might be showering wrong and how to do it better. So I'm putting her name on it. Divya Shokin is telling these people not to wash their fucking legs. Okay? I don't know. I don't think you do need to wash them. Dr. Shokin told us, unless you're like aggressively sweating and you just bike 20 miles, then yes, please wash your legs. That's because our legs are often covered by our pants or other clothing, which protects them from dirt and grime, and there aren't hot spots like the armpits or crotch where sweat and bacteria tend to flourish. I think water dripping down or soap dripping down your legs is okay for cleansing, she said, adding that it's actually better to not manually wash our legs because that keeps the skin from drying out or becoming irritated, which can happen when we cleanse too aggressively and too often.
Lotion.
Exactly.
They don't believe in lotion.
Moisturize, man. We moisturize. We get out that motherfucker with all kinds of shea butters and oils and lotions,
sugars and stuff.
I ain't worried about my skin being irritated when I get out of the motherfucking shower, man. I don't think that's ever been something I worried about. Hey, man, my skin is irritated. Oh, hand me that Nivea, my nigga, with the what's the name? Like, why is it still a thing? Why are the whites trying to convince us that washing your legs is something you ain't got to do, man? Why is it still a thing? Why do
I legit don't get it. I don't understand. I imagine it's something to do with because I do think Black people have trauma from obviously slavery and oppression that we were labeled as dirty and sullied and all this type of shit when we were literally put in bondage, and so white people could feel superior to us. So of course we probably overemphasize on cleanliness. I feel like I say this all the time. Every Black person that's a rite of passage is probably almost passed out in their bathroom before because you mix Pine Sol with the Comet with the bleach, and about damn killed yourself in the bathroom because you just was like, and you don't even know why. It's just ancestral. You just like the Pine Sol I bought that clears 99.9%.
It ain't enough.
But if I mix that with the Comet and then I mix that with the bleach, I feel like I got something else, and you done made a pipe bomb in your bathroom.
Right, with no windows in that bitch.
Yeah, so I feel like that's a big, we probably overemphasize on cleaning, but obviously that means the direct opposite must be true for white people, right? They must be so assured of their supremacy that over the years, they've been thinking like, my shit don't stink, literally. Like, I don't need to clean. These Negroes, they're the dirty ones. And so I think we got to a point now where every once in a while, about once every 6 months, we get one of these articles or we get some white celebrity on a podcast that people used to think was attractive tell us why they actually stink. It's like, I don't know what made you so confident to share that, but I would have kept that to myself, Ashton Kutcher.
Man, you would have had to like kill me in order to give me the review, that type of shit, bro.
Right?
Yeah. They be telling us like it's a thing to be proud of. Like, I only shower once a week, and our kids go to bed dirty every night. I'm like, that's you know what? They take your kids if you were Black. They would take your kids from your house.
No, and your peoples will be the ones calling the people like, hey, they're watching them kids.
Right.
They be calling a child protective services on you.
Black people will walk out the house and they kids be looking clean
before
they do.
Yeah, and
like you can look dirty before your kid could look dirty.
That's true.
If I see you outside wearing a pair of Jordans and your babies ain't got on no Jordans, nigga, something's wrong, bro.
Right.
Something's wrong, man. Like the kids better be geared up better than you before you step out here looking fly. Nigga, the kids better be out here looking fly. They don't even know what the fuck they wearing. You can be out here with a 3-month-old and he ain't
in the echo and you sound better.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something
know.
about going through that mic or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the fuck it is.
I'll be okay because right now I'm just going through the microphone on my
Webcam
webcam.
mic.
The
Yep,
webcam
it's
mic.
fixed.
No problem.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
All
I
right.
was having a problem with that mixer.
Okay. Well, we're gonna be doing a lot of fucking editing tonight. I told y'all it's gonna be 30 minutes after we get off. But we're gonna be doing some editing tonight, nigga.
Yeah.
Goddamn. So for the people who were watching us live, my apologies. Them niggas is all gone. But fuck them. Them niggas is all gone. Like, man, fuck it. But like, no, real talk. Appreciate y'all's motherfucking patience, man. Cause
No problem.
Cause damn,
Shit happens, dog.
I get it. But like, yeah, man, that right there though has never happened. That right there has never happened. So I got to.
We recorded half of a whole show with Justin one time just to find out Rob wasn't recording. So we redid the show and made jokes about the show. So you had to be in the chat room in order to get the jokes. So
y'all know how many shows I've lost back in the day because I found out I didn't hit the record button. Like I'm out here like oh shit. Well, what I figured out was, and this is one of the things that I really do appreciate about recording live, is that even if like my mixer wasn't recording or something like that, and I forgot to hit record, at least there's still the live version of it.
Yeah,
so I just go back and I can record.
Recordings.
I can go back and be like, well, fuck it, I'll let that run and record that, and then that ends up being the episode. But
that's something you learn. You be like, look,
yeah.
2 to 3 recordings at all time. You don't never know something.
This is why you can't depend on your friends and family to be listening to your shit,
right? Because they're gonna be like, nigga, I tuned in and it was 30 minutes. You trying to figure out how to talk
nigga,
right.
You don't know what the fuck you doing over there, nigga. You right? Your shit look professional, nigga, but it ain't professional, nigga. I pay money for serious, nigga. You ain't serious,
right?
Straight up, man. Your family will let you know, nigga. Like nigga, you ain't serious, nigga. So we got that going on, man. Now okay. So I got 2 fucking windows over here. I gotta do this. Here we go. I'll be forgetting sometimes when you got a couple monitors and shit. And okay, we're gonna do this here. Let me pull up my pocket again. Damn, this shit have threw me all off my rhythm, bro. All off my rhythm. All off my rhythm. Okay. So we was talking about Teacher Moses and smacking the piss out of people. That's what we talking about. That's what we talking about. Mm-hmm. Shout out to those of you guys who joined us.
Can you read her tweets again, because I think it was messing up during that time.
Mm-hmm. I
wasn't hearing you clearly.
So I'm going to go back to Black Enterprise magazine because it's where we get the story. It says Teacher Moses threatens a woman after she claims that she supports R. Kelly. Says that I will slap piss from you. This is what Teacher Moses told a woman on Twitter who condemned her for appearing to support R. Kelly. Twitter user Trixie the Pixie voiced her concerns after watching the R&B Money podcast hosted by Grammy Award-winning singer and songwriter Tank and his business partner Jay Valentine.
Okay.
Tank asked Moses her picks of the top 5 R&B songs. One of the songs she picked was Greatest Sex by R. Kelly. You can close your eyes and see everything he's saying, Moses told the co-host, explaining why she picked his song, and she and Tank mouthed the lyrics. It's just so beautiful, and then the production is amazing. Wait, do they have video to this?
They probably do.
They have video to this. Let me pull this up. So, because if I ain't got to read it,
ain't that the truth?
If I ain't got to,
that's weird too, because like Greatest Sex is not even a great R. Kelly song.
It's like
she died on the Shield for nothing. Like that's like if you put his Greatest Hits album out, it probably wouldn't make his Greatest Hits album. So you really just like you died for a deep cut, Tidra.
That's like the second album. Okay, so there was a time when your man Spann was a really big R. Kelly fan, right?
Me too.
And TP2.com had some hits.
Right.
Spann ain't never denied. The man could write it.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, it was like, nah, I can't rock with this shit. And I gave up all of it.
Most importantly, when we say he could write,
We know what that means. Come on, man. We know my man's couldn't read. So my man was like, hey, we know, like, you know how the rappers now, because all the rappers now say they ain't writing they shit.
Yeah.
Everybody Jay-Z now. Before it was like, yo, man, you know, I go in there, I go on my notepad, this and that. Now everybody punching in.
Right.
R. Kelly was probably punching in from fucking day one. R. Kelly was probably a punch in fucking pioneer that we don't even know, because he wasn't writing the goddamn thing.
There's no way he was right. Like, because she said he was one of the, like, I saw on Twitter, everybody was like, he one of the greatest songwriters. I was like, no, we know he can't write or read.
He couldn't read. So if he was writing this shit.
Let's not, I know what y'all trying to say.
Okay, so no, there isn't video. There isn't video. This is a bunch of screenshots of her.
Oh, okay, I know that. Yeah.
It's on the R&B pod. I figured there might be a video of her saying these things. So it's not any video. So I'm not gonna pull that up. Okay. Since, her interview didn't sit well with ex-user Trixie the Pixie. The user stated, "I sincerely would like to say fuck her," talking about Moses after watching the podcast episode. I don't know how many times we have to repeat that R. Kelly was writing songs about having sex with teenagers, and the reason why it's so visual is because he's teaching kids how to fuck.
Right.
Moses replied in a series of now deleted tweets with expletives before stating, "You don't know me, but those who do know what I'm about." Moses added, "Coming on this app with that bullshit, I will slap piss from you." The woman doubled down even when people criticized how she originally came at Moses. What you're missing is, I don't have to say don't support a convicted pedophile who we all have identified as a danger to everyone, not just kids, grown women too, in a nice tone. Mm-hmm. Because someone they like replied to her and said, I also read the tweets that followed, and they just didn't come off as constructive criticism. And again, obviously the tone is fuck you in your comments itself. So yup, she gonna come back at you vile. Doesn't make it right, but I see why she got mad. She got called out. Mm-hmm. Okay. R. Kelly was sentenced to 30 years in prison on June 29, 2022, following 6 weeks of a trial the year before. According to the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, the federal jury convicted Kelly on all 9 counts of a superseding indictment, charging him with racketeering and predicated on criminal conduct. The charges included sexual exploitation of children and forced labor. He was also convicted of the Mann Act violations involving the coercion and transportation of women and girls and interstate commerce to engage in illegal sexual activity. I guess the question would be now, like, are we still out here taking L's on behalf of R. Kelly, and why?
I mean, Tidra Moses apparently is.
Man.
Most people are not.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd say the vast majority of people
that
are
was
not.
loud.
No.
That was loud.
It wasn't that loud on our side.
That shit had me like, God damn.
I was wondering why you leaned back like that.
That shit was loud. God damn.
Yeah, but I mean, when I saw this, I wondered if she did this to go viral, because it was just one of those things that's such a bad idea.
That's the own goal. It's like, why?
Yeah, like, it's such a bad idea. The song is not even like one of the ones.
Hits.
It's like I feel, and it's not that I'm not saying it's right, but if she would have said something that was people's shit, I feel like at least people in our generation would have been like, I wouldn't have said it.
But I understand. But I get you, right?
But I understand.
Yeah, like if she would have said fucking like
Fiesta?
Something like that. She was like, listen, the ignition. If she would have been like, the Ignition remix, I still listen to that. We would have been like, yeah, you shouldn't, but I hear you.
Listen, every time I go home to Chicago, them niggas are still playing Backyard Party, and I'd be like,
right.
What's
and
wrong with you niggas?
The stream money does go to his survivors and stuff, which is a good thing and whatnot. For those looking for guilt-free R. Kelly listens, which I'm not looking for that, but if you are, if you are, like, you could make that argument. I wouldn't fight you on that, but I think it's two things happening here. The first is just the internet being the internet. Like, technically, it really shouldn't bother people at all what the fuck Tidra Moses' opinion on R. Kelly is. And I
I
don't
ain't
mean
never-
that as disrespect, but come on.
Right. Don't mean
Okay.
it's disrespect.
Ryan does. I do. Because I'm like, yo, I'm only familiar with one fucking Tidra Moses. I'm wondering how the fuck she even got on the R&B Money podcast. Who the fuck is she, bro?
Right.
They talk to a lot of legends on that podcast.
They-
I
they
like,
do.
and I like Complex Simplicity. I had that album, I'm sure, off of Columbia House or some shit when I used to get the 13.
That was
Oh,
the shit you got for a penny that you didn't listen
Yeah.
to. Like, I got 6 of them, but I guess I'm
But
gonna
it
throw
was,
this in.
but low key, it was one of the ones that
It
like
was?
I got it and I didn't think I would like it. I listened to it and was like, well, shit,
Okay.
you know what? And was
Okay.
surprised that she never went on to be shit. Like I was like, oh, she gonna be next. And
Yeah.
she never really
She
went
never
on
really
to be
blew
nobody.
up.
But
Yeah.
for her to come back to relevance in this way is such a like I said, it's such a bad look. I had to stop and think like, did she want this? Because once she went on Twitter and defended it, that's when I was like,
Yeah.
maybe you want the bad attention because you do know where you at, right? Like
Yeah.
Twitter not the place for going up for R. Kelly. Even black people not gonna be on your side on this. And she got fried and
Mm-mm.
deleted the tweets. So clearly she knew she fucked up, or somebody got to her and told her to take that shit down.
Right.
But I just couldn't believe she did that dumb shit. So I hope she wasn't trolling, but damn,
I don't
what a
think she
dummy.
was. I don't think she was trolling. I think she really believed, like when they asked her, "What's your top 5 R&B songs?" And I watched the R&B Money
Yeah.
podcast. Depending on who they have, like some of the people are like, I
Right.
don't know this
Depending on
nigga,
who
and
they
I ain't
have.
watching that shit. But
Yeah,
like
right.
when like when she got on there and they asked her, "Who are your top 5 R&B, songs, singers?" They asked this of every guest.
Right.
Most of those guests that go on the R&B Money podcast have been able to avoid naming R. Kelly in top 5 anything.
For a
Right.
reason.
Right.
As much as people like to, put R. Kelly up as like king of R&B and all this shit, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Most of the music that I listen to is R&B. I've been not listening to this nigga for the
Me
better part of
too.
the last 15 years. I am not wanting for good R&B music devoid of R. Kelly. Like for her to get on there and like say that, like, yeah, to Rod's point, yeah, maybe she knew, like,
I
maybe
just can't
this is
imagine.
Because
I can't imagine anyone's that stupid. But it could be possible. She could be that dumb. But damn, I can't imagine being like, I'm gonna just say this R. Kelly shit and ain't nobody gonna get mad. But if they do, I'm gonna just go on Twitter and threaten them. It's like, woman, no one's gonna be okay with you doing that.
You know who I would have expected that to happen for, though? Like any R&B artist coming out of Chicago. Because Chicago folk
They love that band a lot.
still
of them
fuck with
do.
R. Kelly. Anytime I go home, no matter what, R. Kelly is still getting played. They don't give a fuck in the shot. R.
Yeah.
Kelly's still getting love in the shot, no matter what's going on with him, no matter how many people are like shunning him and everything else, he still get love and play in the shot. And I'm just wondering why she decided.
Well, Tidra's from New Orleans, so
She should
but
have
yeah.
been better off saying some Wynton Marsalis or something. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. I don't know why
I
and that's funny because all this time I've been like, I don't know why she didn't make it, but maybe low key she just a real wild person, and maybe little shit like this that kept her from making it in the industry over the years. Because if you wild enough to say this shit out loud, what else did you say to people?
Listen,
That's the truth.
and I fucks with New Orleans heavy, bro. I love
Yeah.
that city, man. I hate what's going on with them now with the terrorists.
Yeah.
The terrorist shit going on. I've been on Bourbon Street, that very
Right.
fucking corner,
Yeah.
getting fucked up, like having a good time. But come on, man, this can't be y'all. Like, come on,
Yeah. Sad.
come on now. It's sad. One last story before we get on up out of here, man. I know I've held you guys on here long enough, but I think this is something that I was thinking about, and I really did kind of want to run this past you guys, right?
Mhm.
So like we've been around long enough to know, like, there was a time where the truth of matters mattered,
Mhm.
like the truth of things mattered, right? And one of the things as we talk about the things that are going on in New Orleans, we found that, like, some of our political folk are using this to their political advantage, or spouting their political rhetoric and everything else. One of the things that happened was Donald Trump and those who support Donald Trump have been trying to link the New Orleans terrorist attack with illegal immigration, right? Another person of the MAGA contingent has decided that he wants to link teachers' unions with the terrorist act of New Orleans. And the reason why I'm bringing this up now is like, I wonder whether or not we've reached a point, if we're too late or if we're too far gone or whatever, where truth no longer matters. Are we in the post-truth sort of situation now, because people just get out here and they say anything, and because of the echo chambers in which we consume our news and get our information, how that affects how we move going forward. And so I get this story here. This comes out of the Oklahoman, and the story of this guy Ryan Walters, who is the superintendent of the Oklahoma schools there. And he went on Twitter to talk about how teachers unions are radicalizing American citizens. So I got a video. There is video attached to this. So I'm gonna pull this up so we can all watch here and see what the hell this dude is talking about. But let me pull this up. All right. Check this out, y'all.
What a terrible day when we see terrorist attacks on American soil. It's absolutely tragic, and we've got to look as a country on how these things happen. We absolutely have to shut down the border to not allow terrorists to come across the border. We also have to take a look at how are these terrorists coming from people that live in America. And, you know, you have schools that are teaching kids to hate their country, that this country is evil. You have the teachers unions pushing this on our kid. The radical left wants people to hate this country. They've completely destroyed the integrity of the FBI by making them more concerned about DEI than about protecting Americans. It's a major part of this. And look, this is a real uncomfortable truth. You know, I know the left is going to lose their mind, but listen, we cannot allow our schools to become terrorist training camps. We cannot allow our schools to teach our kids to hate this country. We cannot allow our kids to teach that this is an evil country. That's why we are getting back to the basics here in Oklahoma, to make sure that our kids love this country, understand American values, understand the role that the Constitution, the Bible, the Declaration of Independence played in American history, because we want patriots. And that's got to be the focus of our schools.
All right. So that was, he posted this on Twitter. What day was that? What the hell? Okay, so he posted this on Twitter on the... Okay, now they're asking me about ad blockers and shit. 2 days ago.
Okay.
2 days ago. So, you know, with my podcast, I know I tend to like kind of like lean in towards like refuting a lot of this stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, because I think that's important. I think that like folks do need to hear some pushback on the bullshit that they're being constantly fed all the time. But the flip side of that is like, it's so much bullshit, like you can't refute all of it. So it's like, in some ways, the effort feels futile. But what do you guys think about, like, you know, the amount of BS being pumped out into the social media sphere, the news sphere, and how do you guys feel about like maybe combating that, or if you feel like that's even your job to do that?
For me, it's one of those things where social media, put like this, the way social media is designed is not designed for the human brain. I will tell anybody this, because we're not designed to hear everybody's thoughts all the time. That's what a lot of social media is, hearing everybody's raw, unfiltered thoughts. We're not meant to consume these things, be it good, bad, happy, sad, indifference. You're getting flooded with thousands, and if you're a celebrity, sometimes millions of comments all at the same time. We're just not meant to consume all that, and you can't. There's no way for people to filter through that. And my thing is, particularly here in America, once our media got out of news and got into profit, that's when the truth shit made a change. Like that's when it shifted. All of a sudden it went profitable. All of a sudden all your news media outlets literally turned into social media. They started getting their news to social media instead of them doing their job, which is actually who, what, when, where, why, and how. So once these kind of institutions start lowering their standards, cutting staff, getting rid of editors, getting rid of people, and the people that you do have, the only way for a lot of them to keep their jobs, all of a sudden you have to become opinions versus facts. These are two separate things. Give a fuck about your opinion. I want facts. I want stuff that's researched. And guess what? That shit costs money. That it costs money to pay somebody to spend 6 months to a year to 2 years, whatever it takes to do this stuff. So a lot of the institutions that we used to could go for the truth, they're still out there. But for the average person, it's very hard to find these things. It's easier because people are lazy. It's easier to get it from TikTok and all these easy consumable platforms because it caters to our bias. Because particularly here in America, we want on the left and on the right, whatever they say, that's what we go for, and we don't question it, we don't challenge it, we don't actually go see what happens. You know, everybody thinks that the other side is the ones that are on the extreme with it. It's extremes on both sides. Like I said on the podcast, it's easy for the people on the left to see the people on the right and point at 8chan and 4chan and y'all believe in this stuff, but the people on the left fell for a lot of mis and disinformation also. But yet if you look at them and you tell them that you fell for it also, they don't want to believe you. It's really easy to be tricked because it's so much information out there. And my thing is, as long as I'm alive, I'm going to believe in the truth. Because the truth can stand by itself. It stands the test of time. It don't care about your feelings. It don't care about your opinions because it is the truth. And it don't care about your debates and none of that stuff because the truth is like, I am the truth regardless of the fake reality that you made up. I still exist because I can stand on my own. And so I still believe that, particularly if you have my opinion, our platform, we're going to continue to talk against the truth. It's impossible to talk against all of it. But the things that come our way and the things that we feel passionate about, I still believe in the truth.
Something like this, I probably wouldn't even acknowledge on our show just because one is so basic, and I think there's a certain type of content creator right now that's conservative that relies on the outrage. As soon as he mentioned how the left is gonna go crazy over this, it immediately made me be like, I know what you're doing. You're using certain buzzwords, DEI and shit. You have no proof. You provided no facts. You provided no backup. You just got in your car during your break and you said some shit and you put it on TikTok and you want us to go crazy because they have this dream fantasy that these liberals are out here getting upset about everything. And especially in the wake of the election, I feel like we have to be careful about what we rage promote, like what we promote with our platforms by being like, look at this motherfucker, because it's not making them stop. And it's also not, it's I would even go so far as to say it's low-key encouraging them. Some of these people, I feel like JD Vance rose to power off of our outrage. I don't find JD Vance to be that savvy or good of a politician, but he does say outrageous shit and then everyone shares it. And then his big thing is, I ain't ashamed of what I just said. I don't care that y'all just said I fuck couches or whatever. He don't care. And so he rode that all the way to vice president. And so the moment in this country that we're having, I think, and a lot of it is about this defiance of like, I'm not ashamed. That's why we voted for Trump. Trump's not ashamed. That means I don't have to be ashamed of being a piece of shit. And so this dude's a piece of shit, goes and lies, knows none. Teachers unions ain't doing shit. They're not doing anything to a fucking kid in school. This is not immigration that caused this terrorist event. Like this dude, he wasn't radicalized in school. This is a grown ass man that had a job and crashed out because his family was falling apart. Same thing with the dude that blew up himself in front of Trump Towers or whatever, the Trump Hotel. These motherfuckers just literally have their own set of lies that they peddle as facts. And so I'm not saying it's important to speak truth. I think we have to find ways to speak truth without necessarily elevating these assholes. And that's going to be the tricky part is finding a way to be like, hey man, some of the stuff y'all hearing isn't true, but I don't want to give Tariq Nasheed another click to tell y'all that this shit is some bullshit, you know?
Yeah.
I haven't done a Hotep Civil War in quite some time.
I know. Yeah, it's been a minute.
Yeah.
That was my shit, though.
Yeah.
That
was my jam. I was like, woo!
Listen,
let them fight.
Sarah Susan said he ain't said shit in quite in a while. You know
they
what I'm
stopped
saying?
Fighting.
They did, really but they found a new adversary in Fat Joe, and then I look up and who's talking about it. Y'all talking about Fat Joe.
That was great. That was great. See, and that's the other thing with our show.
Yeah.
At least the way I filter things, if I can make it funny,
right,
then I can make it worth talking about.
And I love that about y'all show.
Yeah, exactly. Like, cause there's certain shit that I don't want to do. Cause I'll put it this way. I think there's a certain way of talking about these people that seems like you're talking to these people that makes it seem like y'all motherfucking peers. And I'm not your peer. I'm smarter than you. I'm funnier than you. And you're saying lies and ridiculous things and I'm not. So if it comes down to like I don't think I would ever play a Dr. Umar clip on our show and literally like seriously break it down at this point. Cause I know what he is now.
It's gotta be funny. It's gotta be jokes.
But before it was different, right?
Like the first time I was introduced to him, I think I would have played it and been like, okay, let me see. Look, guys, here's the flaw in this logic. Now at this point, I'm like, if y'all don't think he's a joke,
it's gotta be jokes. It's been too long. We've seen too much of Umar to be like, hey, bro, y'all know this shit is just funny, right? Like, this is not to be taken seriously.
If I play Fit and Fresh, I'm gonna be clowning Fit and Fresh. I'm not gonna be acting like, okay, guys, so here's where they went wrong when it comes to dating. Like, fuck them niggas, man. Like, they both look like cartoon characters. Let's talk about that shit, you know? So I'm more into that part. But once again, that's just for our platform. I think there are some actual serious journalist types that I think we could benefit from them actually using their resources and doing some like actual research and work on these guys. But they rarely seem to want to do that, man. Like, I'd love like some type of expose or behind the scenes on like Fit and Fresh and like how the fuck they came to prominence, how they get their money. Like, if you're gonna talk about them in a serious manner, don't talk about them and be like, this is why their dating advice is bad. Tell me why these fucking clowns are grifters. Teach me that.
Yeah, who's giving them the money?
Yeah,
who's propping these dudes up financially? And it ain't just all it's not just all their listeners, you know, because I mean, they may have listeners who have subscribed, you know, they pay for the Patreon and all those things, but like that doesn't prop them up in the way in which they've been propped up for so long, to spew the shit that they do. And so
don't tell me DJ Academics is pro-Trump and here's what he said about Trump. Tell me why he's hosted on a right-wing website, and where that money comes from, and then you got the story. Now you don't got to tell me why he pro-Trump. Now I know, but they're not interested in that.
Yeah, a lot of folks aren't. But when I saw this, I was like, this just seems like yet another way for them to like just. This is like in like when we are because of the spaces that we're in. When it comes to social media, when it comes to content creation, when it comes to all these things, it becomes a thing. Especially when you consider the political ramifications of everything surrounding this sort of stuff. Like, are we really in a spot? Because like, are we really in a place where like it don't even matter to tell the fucking truth no more?
Yeah.
When you got Donald Trump, essentially about to become president again after everything we fucking saw. Like, are we really at a point where, like, it don't even matter to tell the truth no more because people don't.
I think you're right. I mean, you're definitely not wrong.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong because
definitely not wrong.
It's a lot of people, they don't want to hear the truth. They'd rather be told a lie if it makes them feel good. And I've on the left and on the right, like they'd rather be told a lie and lose believing that lie than to actually be like, these are the truth, these are the facts, and this is what you need to do. Because the thing is, particularly here in America, the populace is lazy. They don't
Oh,
want to do
absolutely.
anything more than they have to do. They don't want to vote, but yet they demand certain things of the politicians. You know what I'm saying? You get mad at celebrities who don't got no fucking power, don't got no fucking vote, and can't do shit. And then the politicians, you don't care about what they do. And then when somebody be like, well, did you vote in your local election? Did you vote on your school board? But you got all these fucking opinions about shit, but you're not doing your part. And so when people have all these things about the election, I say it is the populace's fault, because the populace is the people that can vote, and the people that do vote are the people that put these demands on people. And so if you're not willing to look at your brothers, your sister, your fellow people, and be like, nigga, you didn't vote. If you're not willing, because I tell my family members, and I straight up tell them, I say, if you didn't vote, I don't want to hear your opinion. Like I be like, we're not even talking politics. I just tell them, if you didn't vote, I don't want to hear nothing you got to say, because you're not voting saying that you're okay with whatever happens. So I don't care about your gripes.
Yeah, I've cut niggas off that I know personally for being Trump supporters, and I think they thought I was bullshitting when I said I put it out there publicly. If you are a Trump supporter, you are not a friend of mine. I don't have any friends that are Trump supporters. And when niggas found themselves on the other side of that shit, they thought that it was a joke. No, I absolutely believe in that. Like, nobody who fucks with me fucks with that. And we're gonna find. I mean, like, I guess on the flip side of this, we're really gonna find out, like, how far down the line we are on this truth shit.
Right.
Because that's essentially what this here is about. Like, this man here is spewing some bullshit. And for those of us who are politically astute, who pay attention, we know it's some bullshit. But how many of our friends, how many of our family who aren't paying as much attention knows that what this person is saying and the shit that they're taking in is bullshit as well?
Yeah, I just wonder, like, how many people, family members, is seeing that. You know, like, if you're not politically engaged, how are you finding this particular guy's video and then just uncritically watching it and being like, well, that's as much as I need to see?
And that's the thing. The uncritical part. It's like a lot of the stuff where it don't pass the smell test, as the old folks say, and y'all just float with it. It's like, okay.
I mean, we do have a dumbass country, so
we do.
I mean, I'm not saying it's not happening, but it's I don't mean to sound like a jerk, but it's like, when you're that dumb, I don't actually know what the plan is to save you.
Yeah.
Because like all the shit I'm saying, it could be true, but you put on as much weight on what I'm saying as this motherfucker sitting in his car lying to you.
Yeah.
I guess it's a real 50-50 proposition when it comes to your shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you guys heard it in the intro, man. Like, yo, we went to class with some of these motherfuckers, man. That don't mean these motherfuckers is passing these classes.
Yeah, exactly.
So we got that going on. But listen here, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man.
Thank you so much for Rod, Karen, coming over and chopping up with you, man. Also, dealing with the technical difficulties we were dealing with tonight, man. Thank you guys for your patience, man. I love y'all, man.
You too, baby. We got to get you back on.
It's been a long time, man. We got to do this more. But before we get on up out of here, tell everybody how they can get in touch with you guys over there, but at the Black Guy Who Tips.
Karen?
You can find everything about us at theblackguywhotips.com. We do a podcast 4 to 5 days a week. We have premium content. You can find us on social media at The Black Guy Who Tips or at TBGWT. You can find me at Say That Again, that is in DAT. You can find Rod on Twitter at Rodimus Prime. And also, for those of you that are listening, we are doing a live show in Charlotte, North Carolina, February the 28th. Tickets are on sale now, virtual and in person.
And yo, send me that link so I can put that link in the show notes as well.
I'll do it right now.
Yeah, send me that so they can put that in the show notes. But yo, man, y'all know how we do over here at the Miss Spann Official Podcast, man. Before we get out of here, I got to remind y'all how to get in touch with your boy and let your voice be heard. So go ahead and hit up the hotline at area code 313-288-0485. That's area code 313-288-0485. Leave those voicemail messages. Of course, those messages will get played here live on the show and responded to in kind. You can also email us here at feedback@thespanreport.com. That's feedback@thespanreport.com. Leave those emails, and of course, those emails will get read here and reply to as well. You can follow me on Threads and Instagram. My name on both of those platforms is Mr._Spann. So go ahead and follow me there. Chop it up with your man Spann throughout the week. And I am also on Blue Sky. That is Mr. Spann, not the underscore, Mr. Spann.bsky.social. I think that, yeah, Mr. Spann.bsky.social. So go ahead and follow your man Spann. Chop it up with me over there throughout the week. Also, subscribe to the YouTube channel, man. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. You will be alerted when we go live. If you subscribe to the YouTube channel, you can leave comments over there at the YouTube channel, and those comments will get read here live and on the show, and we appreciate everybody who does that. Also, 5-star reviews on Spotify and iTunes. Those 5-star reviews are the ones that get read here live in the show. We really appreciate everybody who does that. Doesn't cost you a dime, just a couple minutes of your time to let everybody know why you rock with us over here at the Miss Spann Official Podcast and the Spann Report Podcast Network in its entirety. And go to the store, man. Copy yourself some merch. We got hats now, motherfuckers. Like, for real. We got hats and shit. They put hats in the store. So we got hats and shit. We got wife beaters. No, not wife beaters. Athletic
Tank
shirts.
tops. Yeah.
Athletic shirts.
Yeah, that's one that I'm trying to get that out of my vocabulary. I'll be like, yeah, the white beat. I'm like, can you?
Yeah. We got athletic shirts. We got baseball shirts. We got hoodies. We got t-shirts. We got the whole night. You can get a mouse pad. You can get a coffee mug. You can drink your coffee with Mrs. Spann every morning, and we appreciate you guys who support us in that way, man. Real talk. But like I said, thank you to my friends, family over here at the Miss Spann Official Podcast, man. Rod and Karen over at the Black Eye Tips, the hardest working couple in podcasting, royalty in the podcasting space, man. I love y'all. Thank you so much for coming through, and I will talk to you guys again soon. But until next time, fam, peace.